So if I was to talk about early recovery, it comes from different perspectives. Again, because it's personal, early recovery as a person in recovery, early recovery as a parent in recovery, early recovery in the sense of my kids' early recovery. I remember when my daughter said to me, we're driving along one day and she says to me, I'm 30 days clean. You know what I said? I looked her right in the eye and I went, bullshit. How's that for support and love? Because I don't think she was getting that from the other people that were helping her pull it off, you know. And it's early recovery is just, same thing. You've been in this pressure for so long that I'm not her support and she's not mine. It will get there, you know, but it's going to take time. And first of all, I had to realize that I had to get well. But just like in the beginning when I wanted to be clean in recovery, I realized I had to get well. I couldn't stay the same, you know. So for a while I laid low, shut my pie hole, you know, did some listening, thought about who I liked and who I didn't and who I'd want to be like, you know what I mean? And, you know, what the influences were. And a little bit of recovery goes a long way, you know, and somebody made time for me and put energy into me. You know, and I had somebody to talk to. And early recovery as a parent, there was some similarities to it. There were other people in the program whose kids had gone through it, and whenever they shared, I listened, and when I needed help, I talked to them. And, you know, I didn't want to do or say anything that would get my kid to go get loaded. And what was happening was I was going into my recovery again in fear. I was afraid of the outcome, you know, which really my recovery was about. I needed to get well. I needed to not be codependent. I needed that pressure to be gone. And I also needed not to be the one condemning my kids. You know, now that they're clean, I'm going to say what's on my mind. And I could really screw this up, you know what I mean? And I mean, in some treatment approaches, they'll put the kid in the chair, the parents will come in and they'll say everything they got to say. They'll just strip you bare right to the bark. How are you going to get well from there? You know, our promotion and our ideas and our philosophy and our theories here, it has to be a positive experience. Or, I mean, counseled, beaten, threatened, prayed over, somebody don't want to stop ain't going to stop, you know, and they're not going to change either. Well, neither was I going to change, you know. Oh, I could say I'm a good dad, but what do I have to do different? I have to be patient. You know, I have to take my own inventory. You know, I'll say that to people constantly. You're never going to take somebody else's inventory and improve your life, you know. So to be supportive, you have to make improvement in your own life and, you know, not live in that pressure. And so early recovery is a little bit precarious, you know, like if a guy in his first 30 days can get to a phone, boy, they can really screw their parents up, eh? Oh yeah, I feel like using all the time, Mom. How's that going to go? Mom's going to freak. She's not going to sleep, you know what I mean? You know, so we try and get the guys, you know, use your support group. Talk to the guy beside you, you know. Like they could be having the best day ever, laughing their asses off, and as soon as nobody's looking, they'll get on the phone, I'm dying. You know, they're full of shit, you know. Like what they want is they want a new car and an apartment and some money in their pocket, and they don't want to have to earn it, you know, like that. They want somebody else to fix it, you know. I want a pill that's going to make me better. At one point, they were coming up with ideas that they could have a pill that would cure addiction. I used to think, I wonder if you ground up 6 and shot it, if you got a buzz. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think regular people think that way. They think, hey, I got a headache, I take a pill, the headache goes away. The addict thinks, I want 10 of those, because I want everything to go away, you know? So it's a crazy form of logic, you know, that I think there's an understanding too, like when you, as a parent, when you go through addiction, you have a really hard-earned experience. And if somebody hasn't been through it, they can't understand it. Kid could grow up with everything possible, lots of love and affection, every value, every opportunity, and then one day you realize your kid has gone completely insane, they've thrown it all in the toilet, and they're ruining your life, you know, like that. When I first started here, the majority of guys had some pretty hard stories. Jail, the street, years of living in addiction, violence, sexual abuse, just horrendous abuse in their lives, real PTSD, like real stuff, really damaged. Those were the majority of guys. And along the way, I was meeting more and more guys, and it was weird. They would, share things with the other guys to where people go like, why are you an addict? You have love, you have parents, you had every opportunity. What are you doing here? I can't stop using. They had that in common. Okay? As a matter of fact, what we learned as we got into it is we use for as many positive reasons as negative. We use on good days. I use when I'm happy. As a matter of fact, I use more than usual when I'm happy. But I tell you what, if I'm in emotional pain and I'm struggling and I'm under those pressures, I use more than usual. As addiction progressed, I tell you, I use more than usual just because it's Tuesday. I don't even need a reason anymore. It has taken control of me, right? And so I had a hard time understanding that when it came to my kids, because they grew up around us in recovery. They had values, they had opportunities, and now I'm living in someone else's addiction. And I tell you, I think back now, it was harder than my own addiction. It's literally one of the worst things I've ever been through in my life. Like the emotional pressure, like I felt like my heart was just breaking, and you have success and you have opportunity and you have, nothing mattered anymore. It took that away. I was being robbed. Like if you don't use and you're living in someone's addiction, it will take it all away from you until there's nothing left. It will destroy marriages. It will destroy your life, and so that's a clear definition of addiction. Recovery can bring you back to life, but not their recovery, your own. As you participate in recovery, as you learn and study and hear other people and relate and identify to what they're saying, you get moved. I go to somebody else's cake, somebody's taking a cake, and I'm so happy, I got tears running down my face, tears of gratitude, that person has that opportunity to come back to life, And as an addict, we feel that kind of love for each other. But as a parent, I'm feeling that for other parents. I could see, you physically, same thing, you physically look different after a while as the pressure comes off. You get some sleep, you start doing the things you like to do in life anymore. They come over to your house and you maybe for a while got to watch they don't steal your shit. Where's the trust going to come from? Like one of the fathers said at a cake the other night, it's just like, he took a cake and his dad says, "Oh yeah, we trust you now." That's pretty spectacular stuff. That's healing. That's valuable. And he didn't get that for free to earn that. It's just like, yeah, I don't trust you for a while, like that, right? You be a realist about it. Like what could take that kind of pressure off, Like if I could have fixed it for my kids, I would have. I would have sat down, figured it out, and I know a lot about recovery, and you know what I could do? Some days, nothing. I was completely powerless. As a matter of fact, everything I did seemed to make it worse. As a matter of fact, me and Louise went through it, she's, we help her out here and there. Oh yeah, but you gave me money. That's why I'm loaded. It's just like, well, excuse me for giving a shit. You know what I mean? When you share that, you need to talk to somebody about that relating and identifying, but not just the problem, the solution. Sharing the success. In recovery, as a person in recovery, we share our success, not just at cakes, but a day-by-day thing. We share our experiences, and we have that common ground. But when you have an addict in your life, again, we have those experiences that it makes them more valuable when we can share them. You might be sharing in a meeting or sharing in an R-non meeting or sharing in a group, and somebody's hearing you. And that's going to create that movement in their life. Just maybe a little bit better, maybe a little bit of the pressure off today, Maybe for one day I'm not afraid. I'm literally worried my kids are going to die every day. Like I could really be moved into the wrong spot with that kind of fear. Let's just put them on methadone and Suboxone and, give them drugs. So where's the dignity in life for my kid now? They're obliterated on another drug. Or they call it therapy. oh, it's better than, they can spin it up any way they want, Nobody's ODing from being abstinent. Nobody, I haven't seen one yet, And people will ask, what are the chances? What are the statistics? What are the odds? And I tell you what, when anybody comes here, it's 50-50. It's 50-50 because we have the right environment, we have the experience, we have, people that can take that time and listen and care, but that 50-50 becomes 100% based on the choice. Person makes that choice. And I tell you, it's the same thing as a parent. I made that choice to trust, to talk to somebody. I made that choice. I'm not living in the fear today. I made the choice that I'm not going to run my kids' program. I'm not going to do it. I need to pay attention. I don't want to lose my relationship. Like me and Louise been in a relationship 35 years. And one day I realized, I think I even said it to our daughter, what, you'll be satisfied when our relationship's finished? Like, how far do you want to push this? I was starting to hate my own kids. Who do you want to say that to? Hey, you know what? I saw my kid today and I fucking hate her. There was no answer, But in recovery, it's the other way around, that we're in love and our relationship's intact, but it's not because our kids are in recovery. That ain't it. It's because we have that degree of separation, that we're supportive, but we're not running their lives. We're supportive if I feel like it, I'll do anything for my kids. If I want to give them money, I give them money, but I don't let them manipulate any out of me. That's my thing, eh? We used to do this thing in the beginning. I was in a men's support group, and we had an agreement that we weren't allowed to give our kids any money unless we brought it to the group and we shared about it. Because I will throw money at anything. Seems to be the answer to everything. Just throw some fucking money at it, And so in our group, we're like, okay, I want to help my kids out. They're having some struggles. My this friend's bringing it up. She phoned me today and says she has no groceries. So he wanted to bring it up before he did it. And we said, okay, you can do it, but you're not going alone. So off to the store, a couple big bags of groceries, off to her place. I go with him. And so he delivers the groceries. Oh, thank you. I love you. It's all cool. Back to the car. He's about to leave. I go, wait. I tell him, wait. Let's watch. See what happens next. And there she comes out the door with the groceries that she's going to trade him for drugs. There's addiction. There's no end. It seems like there's no end in addiction. And one of my philosophies is there's no such thing as a bottom. I don't believe it. Like dead, it ain't even a bottom because everybody else has to still live in the shit. Okay? It's an opportunity. Recovery is an opportunity. And I tell people, you could create the opportunity. Nobody's ever going to thank you for doing nothing, So getting well is the solution. For anybody in recovery themselves, being in recovery, being that example and practicing recovery starts that movement. I'm walking down the street. I was telling somebody tonight, a guy comes up to me, gives me a hug and says, thank you. I did a documentary like years ago. He was in detox. He was going to leave and get loaded, and the documentary was on. And as he's leaving, he's hearing me talk, because I can do that. And he didn't leave detox. So it's 2 years later. He's walking down the street. He doesn't know me. Walks right up, puts a hug on me, says, "Thank you. If I wouldn't have heard what you said that night, I'd have left. I'd probably be dead." And I go, "Yeah, I know it's like that, man. I've heard somebody say something that moved me." As a parent, as a person in recovery, as a person working in this facility, in this business, I've had people share things that moved me to be more open-minded, to be more creative in what I do, how I bring my recovery to it, and how I do it with the people that work with me. That I tell my guys, hey, if you're enjoying this, we're doing it right. Because I'll say to the new guy as he's getting better, if you're enjoying this, you're doing it right. Nobody's going to hang on for the long haul if it's a bunch of suffering, miserable shit. Okay? If we're still living in addiction, 3 years later, hey, how you doing, man? Hanging on. You want to come hang on? I think I might want a little bit more than that, So, and I got some really interesting examples of that one too, but, So you become an example, you become the message, okay? As a person in recovery, as a family member, and as somebody who works in this business. Because I mean, when they asked me if I wanted to do this for a living, I would go, "Are you kidding?" The guy that asked me, I go, "Dude, everyone hates you." So I have a little self-esteem that isn't going to go good, you know. Looking back now, there was a lot of people in the business, but what they had in common is they didn't go to meetings anymore. They didn't do their own recovery anymore. They made this job into their recovery, and they were insane. They were unhappy. They were in conflicts with people. It's just like they were trying to insulate themselves with, more stuff. Yeah, they went crazy in the business. How do you help somebody if your heart ain't in it? I love this shit. I love talking about recovery. I love watching somebody get better. I watched that kid's dad get up at that cake and say, "I trust you." It's just like, I could just feel it. I could feel it all the way in, right? And so that's just an experience. So, there you go. Sep?
Yeah, that was very, very
Yeah.